now back to the Morning Roast with Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. Take it away, Bonte.
All right, Steph, we'll see you later tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off. Warriors and Kings. Kings beat the Magic Saturday. Warriors, of course, on a 5-game losing streak. They need to get on track here. Steve Kerr met with the media yesterday, and he said a lot of things about Kuminga, about the rotation, about everything there. So, you were talking about Jordan Poole and the over-dribbling. By the way, before we get into this, Shask, I got to let you know, and everybody know that Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. This segment is brought to you by Boxer & Gerson. Shout out to Boxer & Gerson. Shout out to Hillary, whose Raiders took an L yesterday. What did they blow? 17-0 lead? Is that 17-0? Damn. What's more maddening? I'm not going to. I was going to say something, Shasky, I was going to set things off. I'm not even going to do it.
Well, we'll get into the Warriors a little later, and I'm excited to see them tonight, and they need to get a win. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Love it.
I really want to hear what you were going to say now.
Well, I was going to say what's more maddening, having Derek Carr as your quarterback, or sitting here like us rooting for Jimmy Garoppolo. I got to say, rooting for Derek Carr is a lot more maddening.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, B, because
I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. Call me crazy.
Well, so I'm looking right now at the NFC standings, and we got an opportunity to watch Arizona and Seattle play each other, and then we got a chance to watch Tampa Bay versus the Rams yesterday. And I'm just looking at the NFC as a whole, and you bring up Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm glad that you do. If you look at who's at the top of all the divisions right now, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, 8-0, leading the NFC East. The Seahawks are leading the NFC West right now. Geno Smith, they're 6-3, okay? Then you look at the NFC North, and you got the Vikings at 7-1, all right? This is feeling like I'm looking around, and I'm going, the Niners, I want them to win the West, but they feel like a playoff team today.
They do. And they feel like they can. Well, Seattle's tough, and that Thursday night game between the Niners and Seattle. Yeah, we've learned our lesson on that one.
I thought they were tanking the year, and I thought they would be a team that would be top 5 and be looking at a quarterback. And boy, were we all wrong, all of us.
I got respect for the Minnesota Vikings being 7-1. It's not easy winning on the road in the NFL. For them to rally 17-7. In that fashion, I give them credit.
Absolutely.
Minnesota's got a new swagger to them.
So I'm looking at this today, and I guess as you bring up Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm looking at these quarterbacks that are leading the teams. Jalen Hurts, Mariota. Let's put Tom Brady to the side. Tom Brady's the unicorn. He's the outlier, and they're right now tied with the Atlanta in the NFC South. Mariota, Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, and Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll throw those guys in there, all right? Of those guys, who do you trust? Like, who do you really, truly trust come December, January, February? Do you really, truly believe in the Vikings, who you represented right there, who you referenced?
So, I'm not sure if I believe in the Vikings, but I'll say this about quarterbacks. I think the more experience you have going into the playoffs without a Super Bowl, there's more pressure on you to win the Super Bowl. So, a guy like Jalen Hurts, for example, he's been in one playoff run, and he got to play against Tampa Bay last year.
Yes.
The pressure on him is not as immense as it is on Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
So I think that benefits him. Like, you think about Tom Brady. When did he win the Super Bowl? Second year.
Yes.
Ben Roethlisberger won it really early in his career. Russell Wilson won it really early. So that takes a lot of pressure. Mahomes. So that takes a lot of pressure on you for not winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like Josh Allen this year going into the playoffs in Buffalo, there's a lot of pressure on that organization too, because they haven't won yet. Mahomes and company have been written off, and they're saying, look, we're back again. We're back. That's why Joe Burrow going on that Super Bowl run last year. There wasn't as much pressure on the Cincinnati Bengals to go on that run, and not as much pressure on Joe Burrow. So when I look at the pressure point, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, maybe it's a little Geno Smith if he gets into the playoffs. Geno's playing some good football right now.
Right now, if you're just asking, he's been a backup in 3 playoff games. 0 stats.
0 stats.
So that means he hasn't played.
Hasn't even played yet.
in the playoffs.
Hasn't played.
Your boy Jalen Hurts, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in the 1 playoff game last year.
Last year against Tampa.
Okay. Kirk Cousins, 1-3 record, lost to the Niners in 2019, had a huge win in 2020.
Right.
Drew Brees game. He had a game-winning drive in that one.
Yep.
Okay, but he was mediocre for the majority of that game.
And people will remember Dalvin Cook carried that team in the
Yes.
first half.
Yes.
Dalvin Cook opened up everything for Kirk Cousins in that football game. So I think going into these NFC playoffs, the most pressure will be on Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
The second most pressure will be on a guy like Dak Prescott.
That's a
who's
good.
been
that's
in
a
the
good one. I
playoffs,
didn't
been in the
put him
playoffs,
in
been in the
list yet. Yeah.
playoffs,
Good point.
and he's kind of a veteran at
And
this point.
And of all the guys we're referencing, makes the most money.
There you go.
All right, he makes more money right now than Kirk Cousins, which is kind of crazy. So Jimmy Garoppolo, just to give people his record, 7 games, but he was not one of the starters in one of the games because that was in New England. 6 as a starter, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Those are his playoff stats.
Not good.
No,
Not
but
good.
he's won. He's got 2 losses and 4 wins. So you look at all these guys. If I combined Hurts, Mariota, Geno, and Kirk Cousins, Jimmy's got more wins, whether you believe in quarterback stats like a win, if you believe in that, he has more wins than all those guys combined. Should you trust Jimmy over Jalen, over Mariota, over Geno Smith, over Kirk Cousins, as you look at the NFC right now?
We've seen Mariota win one playoff game coming back against the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember that wild game?
I've got his numbers right here.
Alex Smith's last game as a Kansas City Chief where he threw a touchdown pass to himself in that football game. Atlanta's kind of playing with house money. Right there, a year ahead of schedule. They're still looking for a quarterback. And as Baldy said, even though they lost yesterday to the Chargers, they do play extremely hard. They're physical.
Game.
They should have won the game. Credit to the Chargers, which sets up a monster game at Levi Stadium. They're 5-3.
We'll get to that.
They're coming. This is going to be a fun football game next Sunday. I don't know if it's that I trust Jimmy Garoppolo. It's that I trust the playmakers and the defense of the 49ers to get through January against these teams because they've been there before. If the Niners are leading, say, in the third quarter in Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts is struggling, all of a sudden, we know how restless that crowd gets.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We know how tight people get. Same thing with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, where they've had a history of failures in that city when it comes to Minnesota and the Vikings. I don't know if I trust Jimmy, but I trust Shanahan, Jimmy, and the Niners as a whole, as a team.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just one player, right? Because Kirk Cousins is going to make throws. They've got weapons galore. But do I trust him in the playoff game?
I feel like he could tap out of a playoff game because I watched him do that against the Niners, and maybe I'm holding that one game in a little higher regard than I should.
That defense just suffocated him. They couldn't get anything
Him
going.
and Dalvin, they tapped
They were
out.
getting hit. It was too physical for them.
Agreed. You know,
The Niners, we know, and say what you want about Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy doesn't tap out. He may make bad decisions. But Jimmy's one tough SOB.
Yeah, he doesn't tap out.
He don't tap out. Jimmy's a tough dude.
Well, do you grant, so like Jalen Hurts, you keep referencing, and I agree with you. That's a really interesting point about the younger you are, maybe kind of like you don't know any better, and that's very interesting.
And Jalen, I look at this big time.
Well, this is what I'm going to go to.
College games.
Okay, so I have
big time games.
I have his college games here. In 2017, as a college player, SEC title game, Peach Bowl, national title game. 2018, Sugar Bowl, national title game. He gets replaced, obviously, by Tua. All right, 2019 in Oklahoma, Peach Bowl. I mean, those are some big-time games. Does that translate for you when it comes to, like, we talk big games and we just think only the NFL? Don't you get a little something from some of those college games?
I believe you do, because these are the biggest games and the biggest games. Tom Brady played in the big-time Orange Bowl against Alabama. He played in big-time games against Ohio State. You look at Peyton Manning, big-time games in college, right?
Yes.
SEC championships.
Yes.
National championship against Nebraska where they get smoked. Big-time games against Florida. You get credit for that when you play in front of 100,000 people.
I'm with you.
Alabama's always on TV. So Jalen Hurts went toe-to-toe with Deshaun Watson and Clemson. Hell, they should have won the freaking football game. Should have won it, and he played good.
Deshaun Watson's a great example. He's another guy played in nothing but big time games
and balls out at the NFL level. Who else you want to? Drew Brees, Purdue was nobody. They ended up going to a Rose Bowl. That matters to me.
Yeah.
So I think you do get a little bit of credit for that. And so when you look at Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts is like, look, man, I got A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith. We've been here before. This is nothing different.
I look at them and if I know everyone's going to point to the quarterback, and that's what we do in sports. They're a trench team. I mean, they have the best offensive line and one of the better defensive lines in the game, and that's how they dominate. But at some point, you're going to ask that quarterback to make plays.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just asking out loud, Niner fans. Like, you've watched everyone. You got a chance to see Geno Smith yesterday. Do you truly believe in this guy? Do you trust him in December? Because the Niners are going to have to go through Seattle at some point, whether it's for the division or whether it's a playoff matchup.
Well, you look at their schedule, the 49ers, that is. And it starts next week against the Chargers. They hit. Derwin James Jr. is going to be flying everywhere. Khalil Mack made a big-time play yesterday, forcing a fumble.
I couldn't believe that.
Ripping the ball out of Drake London's hand.
They were about to
Huge
score.
play. Huge play for them. That was a gutsy win for the Chargers. They don't win that games in years past. So you got a tough defense there. Arizona Monday night, Mexico City. It feels like a game, and I didn't know Cliff Kingsbury's. I forgot that he signed an extension, so he's going to be around for a while. But that feels like the tap-out game for Arizona.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, Mexico City. They're going to be tough. Division games are not easy.
I love how you've labeled that the tap-out game. I worry that they're going to.
They are.
I worry that they're going to give us their best shot.
You know they are. It's Arizona.
I know.
They're so fascinating.
I can't count them out.
By the way, I thought they were going to turn a corner. What a joke they are. They are such a mess. They're such a mess. So then you got them, and then you got the Saints. We'll be watching the Saints tonight.
Do you trust and believe in the Saints?
I don't trust Andy Dalton, but they do got a defense.
And what about if it's Jameis who's in there?
I don't trust Jameis either.
I know.
So I don't trust their quarterback, but their defense is going to come to
play.
play.
Do you trust Geno Smith?
I don't, but they got some mojo up there in Seattle. Woolen, that corner, is shut down everybody.
And Wusu, the linebacker, came out of nowhere.
Bruce Irvin, all of a sudden, I thought he was retired.
I did too.
Bruce Irvin's making plays.
I know.
And then you got Kenneth Walker III, a running.
Well, he's a stud.
Finally, can we all admit that running backs matter?
We're here.
Can we? No, hold on. But let's get before we get there. Running backs matter, folks.
Yes, they do.
Kenneth Walker III has changed their offense.
Ask Ryan Tannehill's career if running backs matter. And that's the other thing. Like, as I look at all these quarterbacks.
Joe Mixon yesterday, you see him?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. As I look at Jalen and Mariota and Geno and Kirk Cousins and Jimmy even, running backs have helped all of these quarterbacks. Yep. Running game has helped all of them. So I know we all want to just throw the ball. Like, if I gave Patrick Mahomes an elite running game, wouldn't it be lights out for the rest of the
He wouldn't have to throw 70 times
exactly. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a scat back.
Like I personally believe that at the end of the day, Kansas City's going to be held back because of the lack of a running game.
He threw 60 times yesterday.
I know. So, 68, 69.
But now I'm watching, and it's just interesting. A quick aside, as we talk about who we trust in the NFC, a team that's kind of rising right now, and they lost a tough game yesterday, but I'm seeing this kid emerge. It's Justin Fields. And I'm seeing now 49er fans start to, say, maybe we made the wrong pick. Mm-hmm. Maybe we made the wrong decision. And this is what I would say to everyone. I like Justin Fields coming out. I don't know if they made the right pick or not, but it's funny how I didn't hear a darn thing for almost a year and a half as he struggled, but he flashed here and there, and he struggled, and the team around him wasn't very good, and they went through a coaching change. But you saw a flash here. You saw a flash there. I'm watching a team last night in Tennessee. They're a win-now team.
Right.
And we all believe, everyone, just be real with yourself. Nobody believes in Tannehill.
We've seen Tannehill come up short in the wild card game against Baltimore. We see him come up short with home field last year against Cincinnati. And they had home field.
I know.
And he came up. She threw a pick on the first play of the game.
And like a lot of average quarterbacks, he'll have moments.
Right.
But he always regresses back to the pumpkin that he is.
Right.
And there's a reason why they're giving Malik some opportunities now and why they drafted him. They need to flip the page. And look, Malik is 2 games in. Malik Willis, who played last night, 2 games in. And people are destroying the kid last night. Look, he played very subpar in the second half. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the game, though? Because I thought I saw flashes.
I thought I saw flashes,
But this is my overall arching thing, whether it's Justin Fields, Malik, whomever, even Trevor Lawrence, who I think kind of stinks right now. All these young quarterbacks are going to struggle. Jalen Hurts is getting an 8-0 start now because of the 22 games he played prior where they didn't look so hot.
I remember the playoff game against Tampa Bay, people were saying, Jalen Hurts is not the guy. They're not ready. Jalen Hurts is not the dude. He can't win anything. Now look at Jalen Hurts. Now look at him. Tua Tagovailoa, too. How many people quit on him? They go to Chicago yesterday. And, like, he missed some throws, and I'm just like, Tua, you got to put that on the dime. But you know what? They're 6-3, and we're going to see them at Levi Stadium, and they've built around Tua. Hey, we're going to get shifty, quick guys where you put the ball in their hands, and they can make plays. Tyreek Hill has already got over 1,000 yards. Jalen Waddle's a stud, right? And we're going to see them December 4th. We're going to see them December 4th. That's not an easy game. But I'm looking at all these guys. Justin Fields, to your point, he goes to Gillette Stadium, and they beat the Patriots 33-14. They beat the Patriots. And Justin Fields goes out there, and I'm saying, damn, he's taking shot after shot after shot after shot. And he goes out there and balls out. Balls out, right? Justin Fields has gotten better every single week, and they make the deal for Chase Claypool. Mm-hmm. Now you got another weapon. Now you got running backs. Now you got a tight end in Cole Kmet. And this is why you can't give up on young prospects early. Mike Martz, hello. Week 1, you said he was the worst quarterback you ever seen. How you feel about that now? You can make the argument that Justin Fields would be the top pick in a redraft over Trevor Lawrence, over Zach Wilson, over Mac Jones, over Trey Lance. Those are just the facts. He's getting better and better and better, but you got to play through it. You have to play through it. By the way, I was just thinking about this. You know, we talk about James Wiseman. He's only played, since the calendar flipped to 2020, James Wiseman has played 49 games. Since the calendar flipped to 2020, Trey Lance has started 6 football games.
That's nuts.
And then you think about Joey Bart being the number 2 overall pick in 2018.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how little baseball he's played.
Yeah.
It's like we don't know anything about these dudes. The one thing we do know about guys, though, like a Justin Fields, like a Zach Wilson, like a Tua Tagovailoa, you have to let them play, which is why I'm excited to see Jonathan Kuminga play. You got to let these youngsters play.
Well, and on top of that, like, you know, just to use a basketball analogy, after year 1, Tyreek Evans was going to be the next coming of LeBron James.
Right.
And he was the rookie of the year.
Yep.
And Steph Curry, well, maybe he'll be Jason Terry. You know what I mean? 10 years later, what's that looking like? After 1 year, everybody was quick to say, Mac Jones, how you feeling a little later?
Right.
The point that I'm going at when I look at all these quarterbacks, Mariota's a great example. Mariota bounced around. Nobody believed in him.
He got benched.
He's playing good ball right now. Do I
got benched for Tannehill.
Do I trust him in December? No, not really. But the point is that it takes time for a lot of these guys. And I'm looking up at this, and I'm saying to myself, Geno Smith. We wrote Geno Smith off a million different times.
Laughed at him.
He's playing good ball.
Dude, he's playing
really
great
good
football
ball right now.
He's playing great football right now.
Here's the funny part, though. I still don't necessarily believe him in December and January because I do have to see it.
Right.
Which I think is a fair perspective to have. But I guess as I look at all these quarterbacks this morning, and I'm looking at the 49ers situation with Jimmy Garoppolo, and look, his playoff stats don't look great.
They don't.
But he's won a lot of big-time December games that I think matter. Rams games in 2019, up in Seattle in 2019. Think of the road game that he won in 2021 against the LA Rams. There's been some big-time wins on his record, and I'm looking at these other guys outside of Brady. Maybe Jimmy isn't the worst guy to go heading into the playoffs with.
And let's be real about something, Shasky. Let's be real about something. Playoff numbers are not going to be pretty.
No.
Go look at John Elway's playoff numbers. Go look at Peyton Manning's playoff numbers.
But John Elway has, and I'll let you finish, the drive. For example,
a drive.
Early in his career.
He has a drive.
They have these seminal moments.
Right, they have seminal moments, but he didn't get his Super Bowl until his last 2 years of his career.
Agreed.
Up until that point,
but he went to 3.
Before they went to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because before they won the Super Bowl, we forget Jacksonville went to Denver and beat the Broncos with Mark Brunell and Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith and Tony Baselli. They were loaded.
15-1 that year.
They were talking about them being the greatest team ever.
I remember that.
You know, and they got beat. So playoff numbers, like if you go look at Ben Roethlisberger, his player, the first Super Bowl Ben Roethlisberger won, he was awful.
Bonte, I looked at Peyton Manning's, and we love Peyton Manning, everyone. He lost in the first round, whatever that was for him. First game, 8 times.
That's what I'm saying.
8
That's
times.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying here. So Jimmy, here's one thing I know about Jimmy. He's going to keep battling. And now with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk, you got 4 studs if you can keep them healthy. He's got playmakers where you get the ball to in the playoff game in cold weather. Who's going to want to tackle McCaffrey? Who's going to want to tackle Deebo? Who's going to want to tackle Kittle?
Don't you think that the one thing that's missing on their resume, Shanahan and Jimmy G, when we talk about them together, the big time come from behind victory. Wouldn't you agree? Like, even the New Orleans game, it felt more like a shootout than a come-from-behind win.
It was a shootout.
Do they have a come-from-behind win? Like, I'm talking multiple touchdowns, second half. Like, you got to throw to win.
They don't.
Okay. Adding Christian McCaffrey as the unique player that he is, don't you think that would help them in a scenario, whether it's a December or January late game scenario?
It would help, but you know the strength of this team, and I saw it last year. We both saw it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Get out and get a lead.
Yeah, they play tight games.
You know, but
right.
they got a lead against Dallas, and they was able to hold on. You get a tight lead, you start running the football, you make a couple plays in the second half, boom, 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 gone. Right? You win the game because you have a strong defense. I don't want this team playing from behind. I don't want to put Jimmy in that position because Jimmy's not that guy, right? Jimmy's not that guy. Hurry up offense, like we're watching the Chiefs go 98 yards. Yeah. We're watching Brady go 44 yards.
He got the ball with 21 seconds last night, and everyone was like, yeah, they're going to score.
They're going to score.
Even though they didn't, but like everyone just assumed they would.
We assumed they were going to get 3.
Yeah.
Brady went 60 yards in 44 seconds, no timeouts. Now, Brady's the GOAT. But I also look at the Rams defense saying, what the hell are you doing giving them the sidelines? Why are you playing 15 yards off the wide receiver, giving them the out routes? What are you doing?
Well, Stafford's a guy, B, if we're just looking at guys that played for a long time. He played in big-time bowl games in Georgia, and he's had some playoff moments with the Detroit Lions, and fizzled out. In his one opportunity to do it, he had a game-winning drive in the NFC Championship game, and he had a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl. So you got to give the guy credit. But it was later in his career.
You have to give him credit. So out of all these quarterbacks to trust in the NFC, Jalen Hurts, Dak, Kirk Cousins, Rodgers is done. The Packers are
Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Mariota, Jalen Hurts,
Brady,
and then
it may be Brady.
Everyone's going to say Brady's the GOAT, so let's just throw him to the side. He's the old gunslinger. You give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm not saying that Jimmy's over. I'm not saying I'm taking Jimmy 1, but I'm certainly not taking him last. And I think he's closer to 1 than he is to 6.
I'm with you there. Haven't been there before.
Yeah.
And there's something to him knowing that, hey, I'm playing for my 49ers career. Because now you're starting to hear noise about him coming back, and I don't even want to go there yet.
Well, you're already hearing New England talking about
you're hearing, hey, well, the Niners bring him back. When they dump Trey, I don't even want to go there yet. I'm not even there yet. But Jimmy is playing for something.
Yeah.
And they've got some mojo to him. And they got a chance to go on a run here. Now, it's not going to be easy. But I do believe this offense can average over 30 points the rest of the year. From this point on.
Okay.
From this point on. Because of the playmakers that he has. Jimmy, just get the ball to McCaffrey. Just get the ball to Debo. Get the ball to Ayuk. Get the ball to Kittle. These guys will make big chunk plays in playoff games that flips the entire momentum. And now you get healthier on defense where you're hitting and you've been there before. I do trust Jimmy this year. I do trust Jimmy in a playoff game.
It's interesting how this thing's kind of come full circle, right? I mean, and I'm just looking at the NFC like we all thought the Packers were going to win that division. I think most people, right?
They're cooked.
They look terrible.
They're terrible. And they've got a slew of injuries. Rashawn Gary's now out for the year.
And Rodgers isn't playing good. It's okay to say it. Don't just blame their receivers.
By the way, Rodgers yesterday, I played like crap, but I played really hard. I didn't give up.
Yeah, you're getting $150 million over the next 3 years.
I would hope you didn't give up. Yeah. We've seen you give up enough. You give up on plays. You give up on routes. I don't want to hear that from you. So they're done.
Well, he's another one, as we talk about how talented he is, and no one disputes regular season accolades. In the playoffs, he's left a lot to be desired.
A lot.
I mean,
a lot. How many duds has he thrown up? Brett Favre.
I can't unsee him versus Tom Brady, 4th down, and he lets LaFleur tell him he's not going for it. When everyone on the planet knew that he had to score a touchdown there and that a field goal was a loss.
And on a play before that, he should have ran and he threw it.
Yes.
He should have ran.
I know.
You know, that 2-play sequence was all-time bad.
I also think the worst loss in his career is losing to the Niners last year, where they don't score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think that's the worst loss of his career.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. Missing wide open receivers because he wanted to force feed Devontae Adams. MVS was open on multiple. That's why MVS was like, I can't wait to sign with Kansas City.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get out of here. So they're done. Arizona, I don't want to stick a fork in them, but I believe they're done, and I don't trust them whatsoever.
I do think they'll play us tough both games.
No doubt. They will. They will.
I'm not dismissing them.
Division
and Seattle, I'm telling you, look at Seattle and the brand of football they're playing. they're going to be tough to beat. DK Metcalf looks great right now. But I'm excited that the Rams feel like they're done, and the Seahawks, we were ready to put the Seahawk rivalry to bed.
And now it's not.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. So I think the Niners are in a great spot. I think they're in a great spot right now. Just get into the dance. Get into the dance. Because with that defensive line, you're going to pressure these quarterbacks into making big-time mistakes. There's a lot of mistake-prone quarterback. Right now, Jalen Hurts, if you pull up, I don't have the numbers in front of me, he's probably the one quarterback in the NFC not making the mistakes. I'm seeing Brady even make a lot of mistakes. He's throwing a lot of interceptable footballs.
Yeah.
They had no business winning that game yesterday.
They have a poor offensive line.
Very poor, and we knew that coming into the season. But Jalen Hurts may be the one quarterback in the NFC who's played mistake-free football for the most part.
Yeah, but now he's going to have a lot of pressure on him when you are the top seed in the NFC, at least right now they are, and you're undefeated right now, and they'll probably lose a game down the stretch. There's a lot of pressure with that, B.
There is.
There's a lot of pressure. We've seen a lot of number one seeds bow out.
Out of all these youngsters, don't you believe Jalen Hurts, everything you've seen from him at Alabama, at Oklahoma.
He feels unflappable.
He does. I mean, this guy got his job taken in the national championship game.
And had enough wherewithal to be as professional about it, even though it's a collegiate setting, as any veteran that I've seen in the NFL get removed.
And it came back to Bama the next season.
I know.
And it helped them win the SEC championship game when Tua got hurt.
It's pretty
Came
incredible.
in and replaced him and beat Georgia to get back to the national championship game. I mean, wow.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Oh, my God, that guy. While we're here for just a quick second, I love when Saban loses. I really do. There's just something about when Saban loses, the world just feels better. The coffee tastes better. The air is more crisp. God.
It is. It does feel good.
Doesn't it?
But I'm going to miss Alabama in the playoffs.
Are you?
A little bit.
They'll find a way to sneak in.
A little bit.
Some chaos will happen, and they'll find their way in.
Something about Brian Kelly winning, though. I can't stand that guy.
I can't stand Brian
Fake
Kelly.
accent and everything.
Hey, look it. Brian Kelly can coach, though.
You can coach.
Say what you want. He can recruit and he can coach. I know you guys hate him.
Hey.
He can recruit and coach.
Was his name Jalen Daniels? He's gotten better as the season gone along.
He looked good.
I didn't think anything of him when they played Florida State.
And was that Jason Taylor's kid?
Yeah, Mason Taylor.
Man.
He's got a kid at LSU.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Kid at Arizona. Yeah, we're getting very old.
So you believe if we were just kind of doing this, you're going to take Jimmy with either the second or third pick in terms of the guys that we believe are going to be the teams that we believe are going to be playoff teams.
I may be smoking something. Promise. I'm not high, folks. Brady's the number one pick.
Put Brady aside. Of course he's the number one. He's the number one pick in the whole league until he retires.
I'm not taking Dak.
No. I'm not either.
I love Dak, but I'm not taking him.
No, I'm not either, which is crazy to say.
It's crazy to say.
And I'm not taking Kirk Cousins over Jimmy.
There's no way in hell I do that.
He's got to prove it to me.
There's no way I do that.
Even though he has the game-winning drive on his resume in the playoffs.
I'm taking Jimmy over Geno.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I'm taking Jimmy over Kirk. Call me crazy. I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo. Outside of Tom Brady, I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo over the field in the NFC. That sounds insane, especially with the way we discussed Jimmy Garoppolo this season.
And he doesn't really have a signature moment in the playoffs, I mean, he just doesn't. What's his signature playoff moment?
Yeah, he does. I mean,
even like I said, Kirk Cousins beat Drew Brees with a game-winning drive, money on the line in New Orleans. It's a big-time win for him in terms of playoffs. And then even Marcus Mariota has a win where he beat Kansas City in that crazy game that we always reference. Alex Smith's final game for Kansas City. Geno, 0 playoff starts or anything like that. Jalen Hurts lost his only playoff game he's been in.
I'm going to give Jalen Hurts a pass because he lost to Brady in Tampa.
It almost feels like it doesn't count.
And Philly, they overachieved last season. They did. Jimmy doesn't have a signature moment. In the playoffs, he doesn't have it yet. All his moments are negative moments. I guess you could say the first drive against Minnesota where he throws a touchdown pass to who? Was it Kendrick Perk? Kendrick Warner, Emmanuel Sanders? I mean, he does it. He does it.
Do you have to have one for us to give you the benefit of the doubt?
I just need you to win a Super Bowl. Don't make mistakes.
Because I feel like the Burrow legend now, after what he did last year, we're like, oh yeah, Burrow could do whatever now.
What's Peyton Manning's signature moment during his last Super Bowl run with the Denver Broncos.
It was having a touchdown drive on the very first series against Carolina, and it was like, that was it. He just executed a perfect little scripted drive.
Right. Not a moment, right? It's just C.J. Anderson ran the ball hard for him and called it today.
I mean, even in the Super Bowl, he doesn't. It was a rainy Super Bowl win. Dominic Rhodes,
Right.
I believe, or was it Joseph Adai?
Yeah.
Was MVP.
Right. Joseph Adai was MVP.
One of those two.
One of
right?
those two were MVP. Yeah, he didn't have a great moment. He threw a touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne, but he also threw 2 picks, I believe, in that football game.
He also threw the horrible pick against New Orleans that gave, I think, Tracy Porter
the pick 6 for the game. Ben Roethlisberger, his first Super Bowl run. Didn't have a signature moment. Antoine Randall had a big touchdown pass, but he did. I will give him credit for that
Mike
second
Wallace. The Mike Wallace catch. Oh, was it Mike Wallace?
one. No, Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes.
It's one of the best catches in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
So Drew Brees that year, did he have the signature moment in that Super Bowl? Was the onside kick and the Tracy Porter pick 6?
I know.
So I don't need Jimmy to have a signature moment. I seen him to play mistake-free football. Play mistake-free football.
Well, I think that's the big thing was I was looking at all the stats for everyone, and I'm like, wow, Mariota had 4 touchdowns and 1 interception in his 2 games in the playoffs. Okay. Jimmy, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in his 6 games.
Right.
And then a couple of fumbles mixed in there, too. It's like,
I love this. I love texts like this. You two aren't allowed to root for Jimmy Garoppolo. Dude, we got season tickets, man.
come on, man.
Like, come on, man. Like, stop.
Okay, it's like what I say at the end of. Have you ever seen the end of Last Black Man in San Francisco?
Oh, yeah.
He's on the Muni bus.
Yep.
And he listens to these 2 techies who just moved to San Francisco, and he's born and raised in the Hunters Point in San Francisco. And he's listening to them talking like, I hate this, I hate that about San Francisco. And he turns to him and goes, "Excuse me, you're not allowed to hate San Francisco.
Right.
Because you got to love it first."
Yep.
And that's the way I feel about being a 49er fan. I won't allow you to hate some of our players unless you love it the way I do.
Right. And you can't knock us for loving the 49ers. Again, I feel very good about the 49ers. They've gone through, it's kind of like the Warriors last year, and I know the Warriors ended up winning championship, but after they got through March, right, and they were struggling. Remember they were all struggling? We brought up the panic meter or whatnot. And then we get to the playoffs. And you knew Steph was back. You knew Draymond was back. You knew Clay was there. You knew Wiggins was out of his slump. You knew JP was on a heater. Looney was looking good. And I said, you know what? I feel good about the matchup against Denver. And I feel like they could beat Memphis. And I feel like Phoenix, they're going to choke at some point, whether it's against the Warriors or the Mavericks. And then you see the felt good about that's how I feel about the Niners right now. They got through all this, the roller coaster the first half of the season. Trey getting hurt, Trent Williams getting hurt, Kittle getting hurt, not starting the season off. Jimmy Ward not starting the season off. He has a hamstring injury, then he breaks his hand. You missed Bosa for a couple games. You had all these injuries. You had all this drama. You had all the finger pointing. You had players running to coaches, players and coaches running to Michael Silver. And now off the bye week, they're 4-4, and they control their freaking destiny, and they're getting healthier, and they added Christian McCaffrey.
That McCaffrey thing's big.
It's massive. It's massive. It was a Super Bowl move, and to beat the Rams in the fashion that they beat the Rams. They didn't just beat the Rams. Shanahan said, okay, Jimmy, we're up 24-14. We're going to continue to throw the ball. And he throws one to Ross Dwelly, and he throws a dime to George Kittle. And I said, he's allowing Jimmy to throw.
Yeah.
Let's go. I feel really good about where the 49ers are at right now.
Maybe it's because they didn't play yesterday, and, you're sitting there, and everything kind of goes away when you don't play, right? You just, I don't know, you think higher of your team. I'm watching Seattle. I'm watching Arizona in that game, and I'm like, Seattle's going to be tough, but they can be beat, right? They're going to be tough. I'm not dismissing
That's
them.
not going to be an easy game. Short week.
This might be Pete Carroll's best coaching job.
Yep.
I mean, I thought they were going to be a bottom 5 team. I was way wrong. Noah Fant is hitting deep balls down the field on little check down plays. They're running the ball. They're physical. They're playing very good complementary football. The Rams and Tampa Bay, I'm watching that game, and I'm like, Tampa Bay is broken.
They are. But you know what? With Tampa Bay, they do have a defense. But if you get them on the road, it's Brady. It's still Brady. But I don't believe in Tampa. They're flawed.
I have a hard time taking the leap of Tampa Bay has a defense.
Right.
If you're just solely watching that game, the Rams' offense is so disproportionate.
Yeah,
it
is.
is passing,
It is.
and they had their longest run of the year yesterday.
I know.
21 yards.
Did
Malcolm
Derek
Brown.
Henderson? Was
I
it
couldn't
Malcolm
believe
Brown? I thought it was Henderson.
Maybe it was Henderson. It was one of the
'Cause I was
two.
watching it.
And I was
Yeah.
like, what? They literally said it on the broadcast. I was like, oh, well, I'm not taking you serious.
Right. Nah,
That's
you
your
can't-
longest run of the year?
You can't take the Rams serious. You can't take the Rams serious.